Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 30 of Tactical Crouch. Of course, your podcast that we talk about competitive Overwatch for you because people listen to that. All right. So, Joe.
What was that?
I try to get a thing at the beginning of the show that I can just say and you feel like you're at home. And every time it sucks. Every time. So anyways, welcome to the show. Of course, with me, Volamel and Yiska. Good to see you guys again. Either of you playing WoW yet? Either of you back in?
No.
No? All right.
Hell no.
Currently dying.
All right. Fair enough. Before we get started and talk about our weeks and get into competitive Overwatch, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at tactical_crouch. We do appreciate it. We post all the updates there, all that good stuff. Tweet us your questions at tactical_crouch. Or actually, if you show up for the live show, which is 11 a.m. Pacific time on Tuesdays, post your questions in the chat. We take the good one. We'll answer them throughout or at the end of the episodes. We'll take the bad ones from Bench Mob and Dream and throw them in the trash. And last but not least, you can watch and listen to the show anywhere else. So if you're listening to the live show, you're like, I can't listen to this anymore because Yiska is morphing into Joe's bed every week. And I can't handle it.
True, we swapped wardrobes.
I know, right? That's kind of interesting. You can listen to the show anywhere else online that you can listen to a podcast or on YouTube. So make sure to go do that as well. All right.
My shirt is kind of like Joe's bed after a night of too much Taco Bell.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I like how you Americanize that to Taco Bell. What would be the German equivalent of Taco Bell?
We don't actually have that much. I guess it would be kebab, but I'm not sure.
Is that like the name of a brand, or is that just like a kebab?
No,
it's just like a.
See, we don't actually have brands as much. We don't have fast food chains. It's more like you have like
little local mom and pop shops. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know
like
that.
Small businesses.
I've never been to Germany. I'd love to go. Once Yiska invites me, I'll go.
Do you need an invite? Do you believe it works that you need an invitation from a German person in order to enter this country?
Isn't that how that works? That's not how that works. Like,
no, you can't come.
It's like the country club. You can't go unless you're a member or you're invited by a member.
I have 2 million reasons from last year why that can't be true, my dude.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not explaining that one.
I'm gonna pray nobody understood that joke.
Oh, so good. Anything about your guys' weeks you guys want to talk about, or can we just jump right into the good stuff?
All
right.
Trying to think.
Too late. You should have thought of it. It's not an interesting question. So yeah, all right. So let's talk about the news this week. Overwatch World Cup. Cup, not Cump. What's a Cump? I don't know what that is. All right. Overwatch World Cup details revealed. And it's Yiska's favorite event. And chat.
Definitely is.
Chat, shut up.
Absolutely.
Chat, shut up. Yiska, tell us why this is your favorite event and what stands out about this year's World Cup to you.
It's very short. I love that it's very short.
True. Right. So no more, as far as we can tell, it's kind of ambiguous. No more like group stages in 4 different countries, right?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's a good part. It was way too long, if we're being honest.
Yeah, there was always like 2 very guaranteed teams that were going to get out. Like, you really didn't need all the different qualifying jargon. Just make it quick, painless. Let the dark horses do well and be done with it. You don't have to have so much invested into it, I don't think.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, the events themselves were never really competitive either. And it's like sometimes there were hype stages. Like France was pretty cool. Just like seeing the local fan scene. That sort of gave us an idea what we can expect from Paris, I suppose, in terms of turn up. But yeah, like in general, the level of play was pretty garbage generally, especially in the qualifiers. And I think it just didn't, like, we have to consider now that the calendar year is a resource for Overwatch. The Overwatch League, Overwatch Contenders, and in order to really use most of the calendar year, I think calendar. What's the intonation there?
Calendar.
Okay.
Newt Calendar.
When are you making one?
We should do a tactical
With your
crouch
dog?
As soon as
calendar.
I get
We're gonna do a merch
fireman
store with a
costume.
tactical crouch calendar featuring
That's
Yiska and Joe.
That's the $1,000 patron donation.
It's gonna be
gift.
Joe laying with his shirt off on a sheet.
You'll
That is
notice
just
that my
pictures of
whole
nipples.
chest is it's just plaid tattoos all over my chest.
So on one we paint you plaid, on the other one
Uh-huh.
we paint the plaid sheets with nipples. No shirt.
There you go. You super transpose my chest onto my sheet and then my sheet onto my chest.
The Joe chest body pillow. Only at the Tactical Crouch merch store. That is blocked in most countries. The domain, they don't let go there. Yeah, so anyways, I wanted to look at something. So when does Overwatch League end? I'm trying to look now. Stage 4, week 5 is
I don't
August.
think we know for sure yet.
August 25th. So assuming, I don't know, playoffs probably wrap up in the next month or so. So, maybe
1 month and a half, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe early to mid-October. So basically
Something
go
like
straight
that, yeah.
into that to World Cup.
Yep. And then we have Gauntlet sometime in that general time span as well.
Right.
So again, jam-packed end of the year. I keep telling you guys, like, the end of the year, end of the season for Overwatch in general is going to be really exciting.
Hmm.
A lot of fun stuff happening at the
It's
end of the
kind
year.
of interesting. If we end, so BlizzCon, then is in November. We basically have the rest of November, December, and January before Overwatch League starts up again. If they stay with the same 9 months, is it really a 9-month season? That's kind of insane.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Why is that insane?
That's
So
just-
American again.
That's just a long time. It's just a lot. There's nothing like baseball ends in October and starts in March, right? That's like the closest that we have. I don't know. Anyways,
I'm trying to think how
much.
long the European schedule is, but it feels like we have 34 play days, and then we have some breaks in between, and then we also in the summer, every second summer, we have either European Cup or World Cup, and sometimes also Olympics, but that doesn't matter that much. But yeah, I think we're playing probably 10 and a half months in Europe in terms of football.
that's kind of insane. It's a long time. How do players get better in the off season? Answer is they don't
They don't
apparently.
need to.
All right. So
Yeah, they already
um,
get maxed out.
so here's what's changed for the Overwatch World Cup this year. GM votes are influenced by fan voting as well. So that's new. Last year, GMs were decided by Blizzard wholly. I have to relook at the maybe I'm reading too much into the language on Overwatch League and Blizzard press announcements, but I believe that the terminology was somewhat vague in the sense that it doesn't guarantee that the popular vote actually would. Joe, am I just totally off base with that?
I have no clue, Doc. You're asking the wrong person about anything World Cup related. I could care less.
You could
But
care.
you should support our host in his running for office. There's a word for that. I don't couldn't think of it. But you should support John. He'll be running for, what is it? Community lead?
Yes.
So you should vote for him and not for other people who name may rhyme with Dibblethorpe. You should definitely vote for John instead.
I'm not taking sickness as an excuse for this. Give him the crickets.
All right, you're right. You know what though? Actually saying something that rhymes with somebody else. Actually,
but am I wrong though?
You can't ask me that question.
You give me the crickets, but I'm right.
I mean, so here's the thing, right? I was like, I decided I wasn't going to talk about it on this show, even though I didn't remove it from the show notes. So Joe brought it up. Appreciate it. Yes, I'm going to be running for this year's Overwatch World Cup community lead. I've been talking quite a bit with community leads of the past from different countries, and leading up to Overwatch World Cup and what it entails, and just think that we've got a really good balance for it here. You know, my job is doing social media and community full time for a pretty successful brand new gaming company, and then obviously creating content like this here. So so it feels like a really good thing, because Community League isn't just running social media or isn't just creating content. It's actually a lot more than that. And I think Annalyn really showed how much work it really takes to be a really effective community lead with what she did with Team USA last year, on top of some other obstacles, I guess, that Team USA had last year. So yeah, I think I would be a well-rounded candidate. And I've got the experience in all the aspects of it, not just like social media or content or community. So anyways, it's going
also
to...
important to point out, while talking to these former community leads, Tripod actually beheaded them, just like in Highlander, and got all their power. You remember Highlander, how that worked? That was such a trash concept, by the way. But
I never saw Highlander.
Really?
It was a few years before my time. Isn't that like late 80s, early 90s?
I'm not sure. They also had a show. No, they also had a show and a movie.
Am I thinking of the wrong movie? Or is that with Mel Gibson?
I'm not sure. But I think the concept was like...
For the TV show. The movie.
Jesus Christ, I'm so old.
Yeah, the movie is 86, and I was thinking of the movie. I don't even know there was a TV show.
Okay, yeah, I was right. Whew.
So anyways, I don't know. Like, the voting doesn't start until May, so...
Oh, no, I'm wrong. Oh, no, shit. Never mind.
The voting doesn't start till May, but yes, I am going to be running again this year for community lead for Team USA, and... Okay.
My bad.
Yiska rings the gong. That means it's time to keep talking about Overwatch World Cup stuff. So, anyways, we'll talk about
the gong of continuation.
We'll talk about that later. So, GM votes influenced by fan voting as well, and I wanted to.
I think that's so stupid.
Yeah, tell me
That's
why.
Dumb. That's dumb. Why would you want your GM who's in charge of, like, and granted, this is a lot of my perspective based off of something that Stylos had put on Reddit about, like, his journey through being a GM, I think it was. So if it's not, I could be completely wrong, but this is somebody who has to go out and do a lot of, like, business acumen and has to, like, pitch people stuff. And it's like, if a caster is voted as the GM of a team, are they going to know how to do that? Are they going to be able to do that? Like, I don't know. Give me somebody who's actually, like, kind of qualified. And that's why I was like, okay, Blizzard probably has a better look. And while I didn't agree with some of what what his decisions have been in the past and some of them in the future, at least he has some sort of experience in that.
Yeah.
Not Mr. YouTuber 69 420 Master Chief Collection.
Bro,
the thing
why
is,
you gotta
who
out
is
me like
qualified
that, by the way?
Who's qualified to name them? Is it the players? I'm not sure the players are better at it.
No,
and Blizzard definitely isn't, by the way. As well.
That would be a little bit. I don't think popular vote is a good mechanism to decide that, though.
I would do the same thing that they initially. I don't even know if they still did with the scouting reports. But remember how the scouting reports for Overwatch League essentially had a committee of people that could kind of weigh. Yeah, so there was it was a committee that could kind of weigh in on the scouting reports and kind of see players, and that was a big initial draw for what Overwatch League was going to do and provide. And I have no idea if that's even a thing anymore. But imagine, each country, Blizzard saying, "All right, Volamel, Yiska, couple of other really great contenders level coaches, couple of other really great or maybe not from that, but like people who are like respected well enough in their country for Overwatch that wouldn't directly be a candidate for it." Like, no offense, Joe, I don't think you're right.
I'm not even qualified for a press pass, John. I don't know if you realize.
Yeah, it's true. And having like a committee of like whatever 7 or 8 people kind of decide from there. That's not Blizzard, but also at the same time, like the whole fan vote, popular vote thing is just. I mean, it just becomes a popularity contest, right?
And to be fair, that's not. It's a small margin. It still plays a part, and I think that's just silly. It's just like, leave it the way it is. It's fine. Vote somebody in who has that experience from like your committee behind the scenes. Don't leave it up to a populist vote. I think that's silly.
Give all 12 or all whatever. How many was it? 12 U.S. based Overwatch League team coaches. Give them a vote. They can't vote for themselves.
Sure.
See what happens. I don't know. Could be really cool. But anyways, and that was just one. We spent way too long on that. So GM votes are influenced there. Minimum age for World Cup up to 18. Used to not be the case. Overwatch World Cup was largely seen as a way outside of contenders to scout new and upcoming talent, especially regionalized talent where there's not a strong contenders scene. Changing to 18 kind of changes that. Joe, Yiska, I'm going to go out on a limb and say you aren't fans of this.
No.
I really don't care. I think this is fine. I think this is a little bit more pointed towards scouting, which makes sense. Like if this is going to be used as scouting, we might as well just, keep it to players that you can sign and not like, oh, well, I want to sign this player. Oh, well, he's not of age. Well, cool. Don't care anymore. Well, now all of the players that you see at World Cup are going to be signable, and you can sign.
That's my thing, though. I would make everyone eligible that would be signable in next season at any given point.
Okay.
Right? But yeah. I'm sure it has something to do with legality, maybe. Maybe they... I don't know how that would work, but especially maybe they have we heard anything about prize pools or whatever?
You think it has to do? Okay, I have a tinfoil hat, but go
on. Because usually, like teams that got to BlizzCon got like a small, actually not that small, but
they had like a
prize right there, and then a little bit of a. But there was no prize pool. Now we don't know anything about that. We know they really cut down most of the structure and really are saving money. Of course, probably like in such a. I'm actually not sure. Yeah, I think World Cup still pays like national players also in sports, but yeah, it's maybe that's something, or they found out
referencing like a tiered system, like of like how the separation of prize pool, because for the most part, all of the World Cups so far have been like a homogenous prize pool where everybody gets like 100K. Like if you make it to BlizzCon, you get this much money no matter where you place.
Yeah. But
so
then
saying like it
doesn't count as gambling, I suppose.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. And I'm not sure how that at all works, especially in the US. And I don't know, maybe there's something about legality. If it's not about legality, then I think it's a mistake to not invite players that turn 18 by the time Overwatch League turns up, or actually also like someone like Rise that turned 30 today. 30.
30. I was gonna say, excuse me. You mean
German.
I still have a chance? I still have a chance.
Yeah.
KickedTripod,
Yep.
Overwatch League, DPS, Genji main.
Is there a chance that this has anything to do with the Bud Light sponsorship?
No, because in the US that's 21.
True. Never mind. I'm an idiot. Go on.
Maybe we're getting some weed sponsorship.
Something you can't like advertise alcohol to like minors, even though somebody at 18 still can't legally consume it.
I mean, it could be like maybe there's that. Maybe there's. I would love if we had Bench Mob. Too bad he's never on the show. Maybe there is a process. A process change for people for as far as getting like visas. If once you're 18, like maybe it's easier on that perspective. That's totally just
Makes
like
sense.
a shot in the dark. Could be because
Some bro legal advice.
They don't
from
have
John
enough
over here.
money to hire BlizzCon babysitters. Like, I don't know what.
Speaking of, I don't know if you want to go too much in on that, but apparently Blizzard won't be at Gamescom, which is like a first for them.
It's a first, but Gamescom is. I feel like it has been getting smaller over the years.
Okay.
Gamescom has also kind of always been where Blizzard like drops the stuff they don't want to announce at BlizzCon, and with the changes
Didn't they
to
announce
BlizzCon,
Legion at Gamescom though.
Yep. Well, they threw the either announced Legion or they had the Gul'dan trailer.
Yeah. I think it was just like an announcement, the trailer, and then the rest was at BlizzCon. But I
Like-
always thought that was really bizarre.
I did too. I like part of me is like, why wouldn't you do that? There's a ton of changes to BlizzCon this year, like the new $550 ticket.
I saw you talking about that on Twitter. Like the tickets have gone up, or this, that, the
Well,
other thing.
so
And there's gonna be,
general
like,
admission is the same, but basically it's like, you know, Disney World, where if you go walk up to the ticket office and say 1 ticket for Disney World, please. It's super expensive and it doesn't have any of the perks or anything.
Sure.
Like it's just like you're standing in the long line, you're paying
Super vanilla.
$40
This is
for
getting
parking
into the arena. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the new BlizzCon $230 ticket is that. And now the $500+ ticket is like you get to go to a pre-party. You get to have like separate spots that you can go and hang out with other Blizzard influencers, and it's just you know, like we're in the era of Blizzard 2.0, right? Where we're not quite seeing the Mike Morhaime, Chris Metzen Blizzard of old. It's the Bobby Kotick Blizzard, I guess, is what you would probably classify it as. And Blizzard's probably Blizzard probably has a ton more money to make going that route because.
Really? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'd have to see like a list of perks that you get for nearly half like $500 is a lot of fucking money.
Maybe you buy a phone with it so you can play Diablo Immortal because nobody has phones.
True. That would actually be hilarious.
So you get
you guys don't have phones? Here you go.
So the perks you get are the night at the fair, spend the evening before the BlizzCon during the Dark Moon Fair. Passport or Portal Pass Lounge, relax, recharge, and mingle with Blizzard employees and special guests. Early con entry, get into the convention halls before general attendees Friday and Saturday. Convenience perks, dodge the general attendee registration and security lines, and preferred parking. For twice the ticket.
Double
cost.
the money for skipping in line and getting in like 15 minutes
Tell me
early.
that's not the most Disney World thing you've ever heard in your life.
It is, but that's like...
That's not a good
thing. There's not a lot of
I'm
line.
not saying that good thing.
No. Okay.
But you don't say like a one-day pass at Disney World is like $80. And
sure.
A one-day pass at Disney World with all the perks that you actually expect going in and spending is like $200. So...
Yeah. Like if you want to actually enjoy
concept.
your time and not just play line simulator, then yeah, you're going to be spending a little bit more money. If you're on a budget, then you got to do what you got to do. But I just don't see the value in that. Like, I can't imagine that being successful. I think
Here's
that's
the
going to
thing.
get axed so quick.
I'm definitely like a 1%er where I've only ever had a press pass when I go to BlizzCon.
Sure.
So I've already had like all these things. Anyways, like that's just what they built into like press passes and like influencer passes. Minus the parking thing. I don't think they had
Who
that.
parks at BlizzCon?
I don't know, Uber, bro. Like
Who
whatever.
parks? Have you been to the Anaheim Convention Center? Nobody parks there.
Anyways, we gotta keep moving on to the YouTube comments saying, when does Overwatch conversation start? The answer is
Never.
25 minutes and 57 seconds. So top 5 point earners bypass the preliminary round. So basically they went and looked at results in the past, and top 5 point earners basically don't have to play the BlizzCon opening week, which I'm guessing that's when they're going to play those preliminary rounds is during opening week, and go straight to the group or the groups. Yeah. Groups are played simultaneously at BlizzCon, so there's multiple matches going on. The top 6 go to a single elimination playoff bracket. Definitely a lot less fanfare there, right?
As a community lead, how would you sell that US is not one of the top 5 countries?
Are they like from point earners? Are they not? I haven't looked at the actual list.
They're not. Yeah, I think UK is slightly below them, above them, and that's why they're not.
So they're 6?
I think so. The last list I saw is like, yeah.
So I mean, they're still gonna make it to
beating them, by the way, last year.
I mean, they're gonna be in groups, right? So they're just gonna win groups and go through that way.
They're gonna have the mango run.
I'm sure that they will have a great time RNGing into South Korea in groups, but whatever.
Oh, that's a whole nother.
This year is most definitely, you would have to say, this is the strongest year US will field. If it, like, judging by the current level of players. Oh, yeah.
We say that every year, though, like, and then the committees and the GMs just decide not to like put out the. And to be fair, like from an analyst perspective, it's really easy to go, well, you missed X, Y, and Z player. In actuality, like there are players who, you know, like just are like, I don't want to do World Cup. I have to play an Overwatch.
Okay,
I'm not going to do that. Coaches, same way. Like I have a contract with so and so. I'm sure there's probably something in their Overwatch League contract that like prohibits them from being able to like participate in World Cup, because I would guess that teams probably don't like that, like team owners, but Blizzard wants that. So who knows if there's something.
It also depends on how you want to make your team. Do you want to go for the win at World Cup, or do you want to like shine a spotlight on unsigned talent?
Yeah,
definitely depends on how you want to build your team.
Yeah,
but just like going from now, right? Just like Moth, Super, and Sinatra. By the way, we don't like. There's low key. We have a problem of massively underrating some players in the Overwatch League. Notably, the MVPs are not being talked about enough. Yep. Like we're slurping up these old like narratives because someone does like funny interviews. Dude, Sinatra could legitimately be the MVP of the Overwatch League so far.
Yep.
That guy's on Team USA. Super is definitely a top 3 main tank as he presents himself at the moment. Moth is nuts. Like there's a hidden discussion about like how we're underrating players. Okay, this has nothing to do with World Cup. Most definitely, we're not talking about Twilight enough. Like, that is a bit of a joke.
More coming soon.
Good to hear.
Yep. Anyways, that's probably too much on World Cup already. Mm-hmm. But anyways, interesting changes. Definitely not quite the level of fanfare that we got last year. But we're getting a lot more Overwatch League lists this year. We're getting
more contenders.
We're getting Gauntlet. We're getting all that kind of stuff. So at the same time, I I'm okay.
I'm
with
okay
it.
with it.
I'm actually
way okay with it. I was okay with just the gauntlet over World Cup. Like if that was going to be, because that's how a lot of people assumed that the gauntlet was just going to replace the World Cup, because you still get that same kind of national regional pride. Like, oh, the EU representatives, we cheer for them, and oh, the NA representatives, and oh, the Korea, the Chinese, the Pac, whatever. But now it's competitive, and now it's an actual team that's going and competing, and not just some like ragtag thrown together, we don't even really want to be here team.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Overall, like, what I mean, World Cup is
Cool.
it's World Cup.
Cool for the people who like it.
Yeah.
Dank.
Gets people hyped at BlizzCon.
It's basically for people who don't want to commit to, like, somebody said, I think it was Banter Life in chat said, Overwatch World Cup is lazy scouting. And yes, I agree at the same time. Like, there is a world, I would say, that if Gushue doesn't play in World Cup, maybe he doesn't get the contract nearly that he does. It's not that he shouldn't. He was always great. Anyone who had watched Chinese contenders was like, Gushue is insane. Watch out for this guy. And people were like, yeah, shut up. We'll let the real analysts figure that out. And then they go blow it up at World Cup. And then they're like, oh, someone should shine.
It's also the problem of the inverse as well, where you have like some sort of crazy World Cup performance, and then they're like, this player should be in Overwatch League right now. And it's just like, well, it's also World Cup. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, to be fair, the level that he played at World Cup versus
it was high. Like, he played well. But
so I'm thinking 2017.
Yeah.
Flower 2017.
Popped off Widowmaker, had performances against USA.
But I Held It Down brings in a great thing, is that it brings in a ton of fan. It's like, it doesn't have to be the most competitive tournament to be a great, fun thing to watch. And that's okay.
100%. It's just not really for me. Like, I'll watch it and enjoy it as a fan, but I'm not going to be like making a bunch of content about the World Cup, this, that, the other thing. Like, it's cool for the people who really enjoy it. Cool, sweet, good for you. Like, happy for you. Hope it does well.
Right. So, hey, good news. That thing uploaded, so everything looks good now. All right, let's go on to one signing this week. As far as I found, London Spitfires signed Quartermain.
The rap god.
Yeah. Tell us about Quartermain, Joe.
Former Kongdu main support. Most recently, you probably have seen him on Samsung Morningstar's Black, which was supposed to be this kind of super team coming up through, what was it, OD of about 2 seasons ago, I think. So it would have been like 18 season 1-ish. They massively underperformed and didn't even make it to trials. And he's been kind of teamless since then. And now he's lined up with London. Always been a pretty good main support. Has some contacts within, some of the Kongdu residue that is still remaining in London. Probably will not see playtime this stage. Maybe not even this season, but Nuss is probably the weakest link on that roster, and putting him in there might be a good shout. It'd be interesting to see what that team without Nuss looks like.
So, do you guys know these service dogs that, like, people who have seizures or have like manic depression have when they have like an outbreak, like when they drop to the ground and just hit their head on the floor or whatever, and then they squeeze between the floor and the person? I think that is Quartermain to Bedosin. Basically. Because we know Bedosin had some interesting, not necessarily. Okay, the floor is also a player from
the floor is lava.
London Spitfire. But basically, that it is outrageous to me once again that we are getting an Overwatch League player that last was seen on Samsung Galaxy Black, I think it was, and then mostly played like. I think 8 months ago. Is that right?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know. I don't like that as like they might have succeeded in finding Korean main support that's worse than us.
You'd have to pay a buyout. He probably took some like measly salary. He's probably getting paid 50, 60, 55.
Sure.
You have him on the bench.
I'm
Whatever.
sure that
If not,
they are
that's not a
playing.
bad thing.
It's called the
Sports
Boston
that also
strategy.
goes-
London wants in on some of that cash,
And
bro.
you can't put him on. You can't put him on the academy team. So you put him on the B team, the bench.
Yeah. Sure.
Any other thoughts here? Is
Gets a
this
lot of
someone like
practice.
so? Just for the record, so Yiska, you don't think that we see any sort of meaningful impact from Quartermain, barring like injuries or trades?
Yeah, I don't think he will. Like that's my problem with London. Like Nas has gotten a little bit better mechanically,
Sure.
but still, it's it's a problem, and he has been a problem. And I already like still in like Meta Athena, I already thought he was washed.
Yep.
So he must have crazy intangibles in order to like
Last this long, yeah.
last this long, be in the Overwatch League winning team. I mean, that sort of indicates that you're not a complete problem. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like that much. I think there was an opportunity to really like improve your team by having a backup for your weakest player.
I think that's always so funny to go back and look at. Is remember to try to remember the entire roster of Apex Season 2 Meta Athena. So the golden era, they come through. They're the Royal Roaders. So this is Hoon at his peak. Granted, he was young, underage. You had, I can't remember their main thing. You had Libero, you had Saya Player, you had Chris, you had Nuss. Now, out of those 5 people, disregarding a main tank, but I think it was Chungsik. Who do you think wins the Overwatch League's first season out of those 5 to 6 players? It certainly wasn't Nuss. I tell you that much. Saya Player, probably the one that you'd be like, one of the better players on the team. Libero, the Korean army knife, does whatever you need him to. Mm-hmm. He's the catalyst. He makes people look really, really good and plays whatever the heck you need him to. But Nuss, it's pretty surprising to look back on.
So I do have one thing I want to say about that, is that you just like said 2 DPS players and Nuss as a support. Like there's not a lot of, hey, which, like, if I give you a list of 3 DPS players and a support player and I say which one is going to be on a winning team, 90% of the time you're not picking that support player.
Not okay. It's fair. I will say most of the time people aren't going to pick main supports as like MVP level candidates, right?
Unless you're like watching main supports and that's what you do for Overwatch for a living. Yeah.
Or Jackson.
But this was also like during like a Toby era, where there was some pretty mechanically gifted. Shoot, Chris was still pretty good at the time. And he's not doing too bad for himself now, but he's on Florida Mayhem, so rip you.
Disagree.
Rip you.
Oh, you don't think you think they're doing worse?
No, I'm not saying he's doing well for himself.
Oh, I think he's doing fine. I don't know. He's in the league.
He's on Florida Mayhem.
Yeah.
By the way,
what? Are you?
There are many contenders players better paid than Overwatch League players.
Okay.
Chris makes me ashamed that my name is Chris, says dream_Overwatch.
Right. That's enough. I give you the crickets on that one, Bench. Previous week's games. Let's talk about last week. Dallas Homestand. That was fun. Good couple days of Overwatch. Not the most exciting teams. I feel like they could have planned that better, huh?
Yeah.
Like the season.
Yeah.
Like the season.
Oh, okay. Now, Blizzard is fallible for a lot, but they can't be. They couldn't have assumed that this level of incompetence at a team level across the board.
I mean,
we did.
Like assembling those Atlantic and Pacific regions as they are. I mean, that in itself, like we were talking about it. I'm not sure. Did we talk about it on Crouch where we said like the one region is we certainly did when we talked about the power rankings. Like currently it's ridiculous how big the differences are, right? In terms of like strength the usual suspects are the only ones that hold up the flag for. Is it? It must be Atlantic, right? That's bad. I almost mix them up. Yeah. That is a problem. And then also, here's a task. Try to find me the second best match in the Overwatch League season in terms of level of play of the both opponents outside of Shock and Vancouver in playoffs. It has to be something like this stage. It's Gladiator's Soul. That is legitimately the highest elo game that we've had. We didn't have a single top 3 match, and also in stage 1, we didn't have any exciting matches in that regard. Wait, did we have Shock NYXL maybe?
No. Stage 1?
Yeah, in stage 1, right? But then Shock was the same as they were now and didn't have I think just in terms of how
we had Shock Titans twice in stage 1.
Yes.
One in playoffs, I think.
Yeah, but there were still some like things where they had to get into their form.
I think we had Shock NYXL. Yes, we had Shock Titans for sure.
Yeah, but specifically this stage is terrible in this regard. And I like, for that reason, I cannot fathom why people think it's a good idea to get rid of stage playoffs. Imagine not wanting to see these undefeated teams play against each other at this stage and just move on to the next one.
I don't agree with the notion that we should remove stage playoffs. I think they're meaningless and we should add either more marketing. I think Blizzard and the Overwatch League need to allocate more marketing budget to specifically stage playoffs, or give it more meaning to make it more impactful for fans. Because again, it just feels like, wow, these guys are going to get an extra paycheck. Woohoo.
Even that is true for every, why do season playoffs matter then?
Because that's the end of the season. That's the final. That's the
I agree.
finale.
Yiska, I'm on your side on that one.
Yeah.
Money is the only motivator. They're either going to be motivated by money, but they're going to be motivated by nothing. Like
by money or by fame. By fame, what you get, once again, I mentioned it to Monty as well. I think we're hearing your headset and your microphone.
I can hear you.
So, okay. I personally value, for instance, let's say Vancouver wins every single stage playoff and doesn't win the season. Or even if they just do very well in all the stage playoffs, let's say NYXL did, and then don't win the season. Sure. I think that's more important than winning the season. I don't think there's value of competition is simply derived from the importance and sort of the fame that's associated with it. And there's no reason for us to assign extra value to season playoffs, when especially season playoffs might be very underwhelming based on the selection method we have, while stage playoffs at least partake in the meta that we're playing in the playoffs as well. That is not true for season playoffs.
Okay, Europe. Here's the thing. I think,
assuming a worst case scenario, I would agree with you. If by chance we have a massive meta shift, completely away from goats, and now we're playing double snipers exclusively, or we're playing dive exclusively, or playing triple DPS exclusively, and the game has drastically shifted again, I would agree with you. But for the most part, I don't think... I just find it hard to not apply that same argument to the end of the season. How is it not being, how is the fame and glory not allocated in the back end of the season?
Maybe it's something that needs to, I think that it could be the case that this is something conditioned into people that just have experienced playoff sports very often, and I just don't feel it that way. For me, aggregate results are very important. Yes, there's added benefit to the playoff stages, but at the same time, if I'm looking at the actual competition that is happening, I don't see that many teams saying, okay, we don't care about the stage playoffs. that most of them play their heart out. Like Super still had a couple of tears in his eyes during the stage play.
There's like, here's the thing, and like I played sports for a long time. Like I was fairly good at them. I wasn't like, I was never going pro, but
Hanky sack?
I had no. I played baseball. I was gonna go play D1 for a while, and I ended up saying no. I like music better, which that was stupid. But besides that fact, I don't believe that there is a single person besides maybe DeFran who could care. Like once they're on the stage, they don't want to win. Like there is this level and aspect of if I am being brought on the stage to play my best, I'm going to play my best. I want to win.
Of course.
With that in mind, we obviously have like a huge. There's a lot of issues with. I love stage playoffs. I love the concept of stage playoffs. I love the fact that it means that any team can try and win, and even if it's stage 4 and the first 3 stages are bad, they can go back and they can whatever win some money or whatever. And I know that's a very American thing. The idea of these playoffs saying more than a team goes 16-0 in football. They're the best team in football, but if they don't win the Super Bowl, they'll never be remembered as the best team in football, even if they go 16-0. And that's just like, you're right. There is definitely like a nurture part of that thing where like that's just how our culture views it. And I do think that the marketing for stage playoffs overall hasn't been great.
No, I think the marketing overall has gotten better. I will say that, but that's a keycap. It hasn't been. I don't think it's churned the amount of excitement I think it can.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
It's the positioning of the content. When are we using it? How often are we using it? Like how many times have we seen the Vancouver Shock kind of hype piece that they've built up? And there was another one that came out that just wasn't as good. It's just like, this doesn't do anything for me.
I don't even think it's about like hype pieces. I think it's just like the stage playoffs just feel like an extra 2 days of Overwatch League.
Yeah,
they really just do. And honestly, they only pull in marginally better viewership than just like your average like your average. I would say, I don't know. I think if I'm right, I think Friday is the highest viewership day. Can't remember.
I don't know.
But there's one day that's higher. It's like, like one of those days. I don't know. I think they could do a lot more to like spruce that up. Maybe if that means that for stage playoffs, they do some other things too. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, do you do show matches there? Do you make it a full weekend thing? Like back in the day where, we had these individual tournaments that were like, yes, I can't wait for this tournament to happen. Like, how do you make that happen when you've already got the gameplay elevated at such a high level the previous 5 weeks?
I think there are ways to do it. It would just have to be another kind of league restructuring where it's like, okay, now there's a circuit point system where, okay, each stage is worth this many points. And if you win, you get this many points. And if you playoffs, you get this many points. Because I honestly think you'll see an increased level of play overall across the board because you need to win stages. Performing well in stages will get you to the seasonal, the show.
Well, that was something I was going to ask is, do you think that there's a world in which stage playoffs, like if you make it to the grand finals of stage playoffs twice, you're guaranteed in season finals? Or not season playoffs. Sorry, not finals, playoffs.
Yeah, I think that'd be a fine way to put somebody forward. But I think it'd have to be like some sort of system. It wouldn't just be like win, get to 2.
I laid it out on Oversight like way back before the season already. I think, for instance, stage 1 finals will always be hype. Simply because we've waited so long for the season to start up again. So in order to give them the least ranking points wouldn't be that bad. Also, probably the least deserving of high amounts of ranking points because they are the least likely to be like the meta that then is in the season playoffs, right? So also teams are less likely to still have the same form and whatever. Then you just ramp it up over the season. That also has a benefit. Let's call a spade here. Mid-season is boring as hell, and it does reflect in the viewership that we're currently seeing. There's always a dip in the middle of the season. Certainly problematic because of summer, where people probably watch less anyway. And especially over the holidays, we saw an effect like this. Of course, that also plays into it, but you kind of have to counteract that systematically. And I think like just ramping up the circuit points, if you want, and then making them important, of course, that then would once again require us to have a sort of symmetric competition in terms of like the stages themselves. I could even see we sizing down one stage less next year, use maybe a little bit more of the calendar year, and then have, I'm not sure if a round robin makes sense, because that would be probably too many matches, but something like maybe divisional play. Even there, it's very hard to come up with something satisfying. We once again have to travel. It's a very hard system for next year. I wish we didn't have to run it this year, because like in my mind, we could have had, like I already said, I think we could have had the golden age of Overwatch even higher if we just kept like those systems around, round robin systems, less stages with more meaningful stage playoffs, went all out on that, and then made some concessions to the traveling schedule that then supposedly makes it more hype for the viewer anyway, and we don't need the extra boost. But yeah, in terms of how this structure presents itself now, I think it's less exciting than last year, and creates less exciting scenarios. Like, God forbid there is a meta change and any one of those top teams falls off without having played the other top teams, and we never get to see them play goats against each other. Like, stage playoffs help somewhat, but there's still a lot of dodging that will happen. Still very possible that we never get to see, let's say, Vancouver against NYXL and see these styles match up, because they meet Shock beforehand or whatever in the bracket. That is unsatisfying to me, because we're not getting the answers of these top performing teams nearly as regularly as we should. And also keep in mind, just like in terms of how we schedule esports in general, it didn't feel like Apex was too much, right? Like only having one a year would have not been enough. I think we can all agree. But having like, how many Apex were there actually a year? Was it 3 or was it like 2.5?
2.5 sounds about right.
Like, that seems to be like a schedule where people can sort of settle into a new championship and whatever. And just like, for instance, other esports have like sort of located this. Cisco says we have 3 majors a year or 2 majors a year. Dota says we have minors and then 1 major. For instance, that system, like if we were to accentuate that like this in Overwatch, so we have like currently 4 minors, and we actually sell stage playoffs as a minor, and then we have the major in the season playoffs.
Sure.
Like, yes, for instance, TI is still very top heavy in terms of what it does to your career if you win that, or your life. But yeah, I think if we split it out a little bit and set more high points throughout the year, I think that is more true to the nature of how esports operates.
So I need to put a cap on this conversation. I think that's a great place to go pin it. We can talk about it later, or a different convo, because we could probably do a whole hour-and-a-half convo on that. But we're well over time here, and we've got some matches. So Dallas Homestand overall, I think, was really cool to see, minus the power outage that they had. Fans were obviously hyped. They said that the average single-day ticket was $50, and the average 2-day ticket was $100. So, and they filled up, I think it was 4,500 in the arena. So, not bad at all. But so $100,000 times 45, $450,000 is ultimately what, like, you're probably higher than that. But, well, no, because they sold out both days. So cool from that perspective. I mean, that's where they set the prices and whatever. They had some higher prices, some lower prices. They definitely leaned into the Texas thing, huh?
Yeah.
A little too hard, maybe. A little bit couple too many yeehaws and lassos, I think.
Yeah.
I'm married to somebody from Texas, so like, yeah, she's just like, okay, we get it. You're in Texas. All right, we understand. You don't need to lasso which team is gonna win. But
some of their fan interaction stuff in the league has just been so goofy. And it doesn't make much sense either. Yeah. Like you don't need, like, the lassoing's fine, I guess. Like, you're in Texas, you got to do something cowboy related.
I like
whatever.
The cowboy hats. Who was it?
Yeah.
Was it London that they took to the cowboy store?
That's great. But like the in audience, like live interaction, like the Reinhardt race, one that doesn't make much sense because you know that stuff's just kind of held together with like chewing gum and like some belly button lint. Like the second you have those guys like muscle around, before that even started, some dude's head fell off. Like, why would you want them to run around? That's so, and it's goofy. Like, they walked 4 feet. Like, is that supposed to be exciting? Like, give me a player, bring him on stage, let him do something silly. Like, there's other ways of doing interaction with fans. I don't know. Yeah. It's so dumb. Ask fans questions. Like, come on. Pull a random audience member and quiz their knowledge of Texas versus sideshows. There you go. Fan interaction better than the Reinhardt race of 2019, folks.
So
could America recover from that, L?
Probably not.
Sure, they'd grab like the worst person.
It'd be hilarious.
So yeah, and I agree, right? So as somebody who's like done that before, I appreciate like the creativity of like, let's try to make it something fresh and let's try to go above and beyond the same thing that we see in the battle for Los Angeles, right? That we saw, or battle, or the California, whatever it was, where, yeah, like I get that. And yes, I agree, but like, then execute it. If you're going to you just got to execute those ideas. And I agree. I don't feel like they were as well executed for the size of the event as they could have been. But at the same time, I've been to plenty of baseball games where they have people in really put together costumes run around the bases and see who can run around the fastest. And like, I didn't care if they were well put together or not. It was just fun to watch and better than looking up at the nothing.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. Apparently people in chat are saying it's a callback to some home team Texas stuff that they do a little bit often, which apparently, like, if that's true, then, fair play. I don't know. I still thought it was really phoned in. Like, I feel like there's got to be more, like, have the casters try Texas food like they did with Mika and the London players. Like, that would have been interesting. Like, here's a deep fried Twinkie, here's deep fried butter. Like, oh, look, guys, Texas stuff.
By the way,
that would have been more interesting.
Deep fried stuff is Minnesota, so you be careful.
Whatever.
You be careful, young man.
Anywho,
my wife and I argue about this all the time.
It was just phoned in.
Let's discuss the results. Overall, homestand, really cool. Can't wait for the next one. I'm sure they'll learn a lot. It was their first in many.
Sure.
So, Chengdu Hunter defeat London Spitfire 3-1. I think that has to probably be the big result here this weekend. Really quickly, because we have to talk about some upcoming matches and playoffs games. How did this happen? Is this like I know, Joe, I say this so often, it probably just makes people upset, but is this the Moss 7 Club 2.0 of Overwatch League, where they're not actually better, but for some reason they're winning because they're just so hard to prepare for, so hard to anticipate?
It could be. I think it's part London just having something in them that decides they just want to be bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things went into that win. I didn't even have that. Like, I'll gloat about it gladly, but I didn't have them. I didn't have that result happening. I don't think anybody would. And if they did, they were lying to themselves.
There's something that just deeply shakes the core of a London player when the prospect of a perfect stage draws near. I think next week they play, wasn't it Houston or something?
Oh, look.
It was Houston. So that's free. And so that was their last hurdle, really, for being honest.
Free, he says.
Should be, at least.
Probably
is. And I think maybe there's also something with it that they just then start trying stuff or don't take it as seriously and pace themselves. Or maybe I don't know. But this is London and has always been London.
It's also Seoul. You know?
True. Yeah.
Should Seoul have been taken to Game 5 versus Valiant? Not really. Is that Valiant improving?
That was really surprising. Like, is Valiant improving? It's
hard for me to really put a finger on that because Seoul is a team that will just lose games.
So it's a team, right? So I don't know even so much about lose. Like, even when they're playing their best, they lose maps. It happened stage 1 of season 1. I felt like, especially where Seoul was looking like, when you saw them play and you saw Fleta pop off, you're like, how does anybody beat this team? And then they go to 5 maps with the team and you're like, why was that 5 maps? I don't know. Seoul continues to be a conundrum. They're like the inverse Chengdu. You heard it here first. Now, I don't know. Maybe not inverse Chengdu, but it's just like they don't switch it up a lot. They don't upset in the sense that they don't lose matches that they shouldn't lose, but they lose a lot of maps.
Yeah.
They seem to. Joe, Joe. So here's my challenge for you. If you disagree, say, I disagree, John. It's okay. It's okay.
I mean, I don't disagree.
Disagree anyways.
Why?
Because we talk in percentages all this time, right? So like every time we talk about a player percentage, like I don't disagree. I agree with you 35%.
I mean, I agree like most of it.
Okay.
This is so Joe, dude. I can't. Will you commit to an opinion?
What don't you agree?
I didn't agree with like they don't change things up often because we just saw them change things up. Fisher's not on the roster, Flood is not on the roster, right? We just saw them change things up.
That's a great point.
But like for the rest of them, I'm like, I mean, I can't really disagree with it.
Seoul doesn't change things up often, which was the fundamental point that I had made in the sense that Chengdu is constantly changing on you. All you had to be is like, no, John, like Seoul just dropped 2 of their best players.
Too.
That's what I said. And I said Seoul is the inverse of that. They don't really change. They just like, blah.
But
I was wrong. You were right. I was wrong.
But
you were right.
Again, I don't know.
Maybe
I think this like too much like some sort of lawyer where I'm like, I can't argue that strong enough. Like I can attack one point, but I'm just like, why bother?
We're on a podcast. Yes.
Too much of a bother.
Yes, we're here to give our opinions, but we're here to make it entertaining. Make it fun.
All right. I tried that earlier. It didn't work out well.
It didn't?
I didn't think so.
When was it? Did I miss it? Was I going into the bathroom?
Immediately after.
All right, I won't cricket you for.
No, you're good. It's fine.
He's going to put himself.
You will not get the cricket. You'll get the. So
that works too. Whatever.
Yeah. All right, Seoul Dynasty narrowly defeat LA Valiant. 5 maps. Again, par for the course for Seoul, in my opinion, not for Joe's. Dallas Fuel defeat the Houston Outlaws 3-1. Close 3-1 though. Any thoughts on that match there? I felt like Houston probably played better than they did in any other match this stage.
This stage.
Probably. Yeah.
Let's take a look back at their stage.
That's a gut punch. Oof.
Toronto Defiant 3-2. Boston Uprising 2-3.
I think you're looking at stage one.
Oh, I am looking at stage one. Sorry.
They play Vancouver 3-1. Not memorable. I think they won the last map because Vancouver tends to throw.
No, they won the first one. And it was memorable in the sense
Oh,
that
that's right. They won
DPS
Busan. Yeah. That's
Mhm.
right. And Vancouver threw into them, so I'm still kind of right.
Yeah. They then played
Philly
4-0, Shanghai 3-0.
Got their tails handed to them by Shanghai. Seoul, yeah, I would say, they looked halfway decent against Dallas. And
here's
this is
the thing I love about Joe. Joe needs to fact check anything because putting his
the internet's
name,
a scary place.
putting
man.
his name on a definitive statement is the end
Has
of
to
the
be
world
right.
if it's wrong.
That's
End of the
thing.
world.
I am a pretty competitive person, so I don't want to be wrong. I want to be right.
I know. I don't want you to be wrong either, and I don't want to be wrong either.
See, I don't agree with you that you give the impression that you want to be right. You just don't want to be wrong. So, it's 55
Yeah, I can agree with that.
He doesn't want to be the dumb.
You go like, oh, that's my big victory, 5%.
He doesn't want to be the smart analyst. He just doesn't want to be the dumb analyst.
Yeah, I'll be happy with
All right.
a nice vanilla,
Let's talk about games coming up this week. Because we're going to get Joe to say some definitive things here.
I am literally a less than or equal to sign. That is true.
I know. We're going to get that out of you. Game of the week, number 1, Guangzhou Charge versus Houston Outlaws. Joe, first and foremost, who's walking away winning this one? This isn't a really important match. Yeah, exactly.
Charge against Outlaws.
Charge Outlaws.
Charge.
I didn't know if that was a joke.
Houston doesn't win a game this stage.
All right. Charge. What about you, Yiska? Where are you at?
Charge, easy.
Yeah, I got to say it. Charge.
Houston looks pretty poo.
Houston does look pretty poo. Chengdu Hunters, LA Valley. Why is that a match?
This is also like one of those, I don't really know. It's hard for me to put my finger on what's happening with LA. Are they improving? Is Seoul just like that weird team? This is also their only match this week, and it's against Chengdu, so they probably can prep for it, but are they going to be coordinated enough to deal with Chengdu? This is like a must win for Chengdu if they want to stay within playoff, the playoff race. I don't know where to go with this.
Yeah,
my heart says Chengdu. My brain says Chengdu. I'm gonna have to say Chengdu.
Yiska, any world where you see the Valiant walking away from this one?
I think they're worlds. I think
Valiant is the gatekeeper to playoffs for this game.
I think it will be a 3-2.
3-2 in favor of Chengdu.
Yeah.
3-1. All right.
That's fair.
Is that fair? Is that a fair?
It's always fair.
All right.
It's always less than or equal to.
This is the big one. This is the big important one here. Seoul Dynasty versus Hangzhou Spark. So either of these teams, they're kind of in these must-win situations. Yeah. Seoul has to essentially win one of the two matches to get playoffs. But they also can prevent Hangzhou from being in the playoffs. They are 4-2 right now, Hangzhou, but they're at a -3 map differential. So even though technically right now they're in 7th, they're actually the 11th highest team as far as map differential goes. Not doing great. So if they win this match, there's still a very likely scenario where they don't. Sorry. If they lose this match, it's highly unlikely that they make playoffs. Hangzhou Spark, right?
Yeah.
Because at best they're at a -2, or sorry, at worst they're at a -2. They can maybe squeeze it up to 1. +1, which I
Yeah,
don't.
if they 4-0 Seoul, they get a +1.
Right.
With a
So
5-2.
this is a big one. This is an important one. Yiska, do
Yeah.
Hangzhou Spark defeat the Seoul Dynasty this week?
Dude, my problem is I think Seoul is legitimately stupid enough to all in on Vancouver. I think they have it in them to do that stuff. They did it in the past where they thought, oh yeah, we're going for the all in. I hope they don't take that Vancouver match too seriously and then just try to do it in the playoffs or whatever. But I think they win that match, but it won't be as comfortable as it should be.
So who wins?
agree with
Sorry, I misunderstood.
Dynasty.
Seoul wins, yeah.
Soul wins. Joe, where are you at?
I'm pretty much the same boat. I'm not sold on Spark, but I'm also still have some questions about Soul as well after last week. Was it travel? Was it Valiant improving? That there are some asterisks there. This is also the last game of this stage, so there's a good amount of time for them to prep. They have 2 days. They don't play on either Thursday or Friday, so they have 2 days of prep before their 2 matches on Saturday and Sunday, which is good for them. Spark don't play any other matches this week, so that's good for them. But I don't see Seoul losing this. I think this is a Seoul. This should be a Seoul comfortable win, 3-1.
So if I'm looking at this correctly, they lose. They lose to Vancouver in shock 0-4. They beat other teams basically 3-2.
Yeah.
It's man.
I'm getting more bullish on Spark. They're improving. That's very apparent, but are they there yet? I don't think so.
I'm trying
I need another stage.
I also don't like Seoul under pressure. Seoul is just not a team that when their backs are against the wall, I feel like they play very well. I originally chose Seoul for this. In my notes for myself, I have Seoul winning this one 60-40.
I mean, you didn't like Seoul upsetting New York?
I mean, that was more outlandish than Spark beating Seoul.
I mean, sure, but wouldn't that be what you're talking about with pressure, though? You're facing one of the top 3 teams, and then you go to upset them pretty convincingly.
Is that pressure though? Again, you just talked all this time about how stage playoffs don't mean anything and teams are phoning in their performances here into stage playoffs, and then you talk about how Seoul stepped up to the challenge and felt like this really big challenge for NYXL.
Any regular season game and a stage playoff game is any less than a regular season game. So I don't think phoning it in would be accurate. I don't think they're playing up to the preparation.
Yes, I get it. Okay,
seasonal playoff.
So yeah. You've got to put 4 qualifiers on your statement. I get it. Joe, you basically said that I probably could find a clip of you saying that stage playoffs mean nothing. I could probably find that. So
I'm not a player.
If using that perspective, then why would NYXL really care? And we've seen NYXL perform poorly in playoffs multiple times before. The Seoul, I'm not considering the Seoul Dynasty defeating NYXL as a heavy indicator of how strong they are as a team overall in the overall season power rankings. I'm not. I don't. I won't.
So when would you say that they were put under pressure and you didn't like their performance?
Better question. Just general feeling. Right? So again, this is where you and I differ, is that I can go back and look wow, Seoul's never been put under pressure before. I'm an idiot. But I'm actually gonna say this here partly because we all agree on the other 2 matches and they aren't very good.
Sure.
But I do think that this is the closest match. Like I said, 55-45, 60-40. It's a close one, and to your point, Hangzhou
Definitely.
have played. They've beat some teams.
Yeah, they've looked better.
Hangzhou beat some
You
teams.
can't deny that.
And what are
They
the
have
chances
looked
of me
better.
getting Houston Outlaws wrong in 1 week and then going straight to getting Hangzhou wrong the next week, right? Not super likely, right?
For your prediction's sake, I'll hope so.
God. Joe, we're going to talk after this. I tell you what. Here we go. Playoff picture. Let's talk about this. Get out of here for the night. We're at an hour and 15. We're going a little long for you this week. So right now,
extra.
LA Gladiators, Shock, Titans, Excelsior, and Spitfire are confirmed. There's nothing that can happen that causes them to not make the playoffs. So we've got 3 spots left. 3 important spots left. Let's talk about from most likely to least likely here. Who's going to take these remaining 3 spots for playoffs so that next week we can discuss just the playoff matches in general because we'll have all the seeds and stuff then.
So who doesn't have the Dallas Fuel as the number 1 contender to at least make playoffs? That out of those who have not,
They're my number 1 for sure.
they're my number 1. How can you not?
Yeah. They're playing Florida.
They're
dude.
last.
They're going 5-2.
They're playing. So yes, the Dallas Fuel are playing Florida this week. Currently, right now on the standings, they are 4-2. They'll finish in 5-2. Highly unlikely that they lose that match. Right?
It would be pretty surprising.
So yeah, definitely number 6 has to go to Dallas Fuel.
Yep.
Number 7. So this one is where it gets a little bit more hairy and a little bit more tricky. Joe, I'm going to go to you first, man. Who walks away? And by the way, the teams that we're considering here, the teams that are still in the running, Hangzhou Spark, Seoul Dynasty, Shanghai Dragons, Chengdu Hunters, Philadelphia Fusion, Boston Uprising. Number 7 has to be Seoul for you, right?
Yeah, Seoul is my number 7. I think that they have a very comfortable position in terms of map differential. I don't think their week is impossible. Obviously, they play Vancouver, which I think is going to be a loss. If they can sneak maps in, that'd be great for them. But I think them finishing 4-3 with like a plus
7, plus 8,
+3, +4, something like that. Map differential would.
Because so you think that they're going to go 0-4 against Vancouver?
You could definitely. It's a possibility, and then they take it close versus Hangzhou.
Yep. So -4 +1. Okay.
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. Yiska, I know you had Seoul beating Hangzhou as well, so this is going to probably be Dynasty here for you as well.
Yeah, close, but Dynasty, yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
It's very close, though, in terms of this all comes down to maps, if we're being honest. Like, of course it comes, because most of these other teams that qualify will be 4-3, but there's still some, like, Dynasty needs to play 2 matches, Shanghai plays 2, and I guess the others only play 1, if I'm not mistaken, but there's still a lot of variance, so yeah, Dynasty as well.
For sure. All right.
Now it gets interesting, right?
So here's the thing, though. I'm going to go first on this one because very rarely do I ever go first. Week 5, I am actually going to go with a team that I honestly almost put. Actually, I am going to change that, I think. Well, no, I can't. So number 8 is going to be Chengdu.
We have disagreement, gentlemen.
Who do you think gets in? Shanghai?
Yes.
Shanghai's not a bad shot either. They're already +2. Their week isn't terrible, but it's also it's a double week for them. That was my deciding factor, not to go with Shanghai.
I think in my mind they are likely to go. See, the one thing that I didn't consider, and that is a good shout out from the chat, is that San Francisco might still want to win every single map.
Yeah.
Because currently they're on a 20 map win streak. They're 20-0 this stage. And in my mind, I thought Shanghai has it in them to take a map, but if they just want to continue rolling, I could see Shock not making it. And that could break their backs, because even if they 4-0 Justice, like I have like the scores I came up with is like Shanghai, okay, overall score 4-3, but then +4, and Chengdu is likely to land on +3. Now, if they lose one map against Shock, they're already only at +2.
Yeah.
So
Chengdu finished at +3, +4.
Yeah.
I think
Worst
Chengdu
case scenario.
just has to win. As long as Chengdu wins
against
I
the,
think
against the Valiant.
which is
And again, I'm not buying into the Valiant 3-2 fuel hype.
yeah, no. Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
So Yiska, who you put number 8? You had a
I say
disagreement.
Shanghai.
You say Shanghai
say Shanghai.
Dragons.
Mhm.
So for those wondering, Shanghai Dragons are 3-2, so they have 2 maps. They've got a +2 math differential. So Shanghai plays the Washington Justice, which should be a pretty handy win, right?
Yes. That's a 4-0 in my book.
Should be.
And for me, though, they play the San Francisco Shock. For me, they are a 4-0 as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's what causes them. I think they cancel out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
That's fair.
That's where I'm at. So, Joe, where do you land? Who squeaks in here?
I think it's Chengdu. I don't see Shanghai. I think they just completely go even this week. They don't change map differential. They gain a win, they gain a loss. They gain 4, they lose 4, so they go nowhere. I think Chengdu, in the same way that we can apply the logic to Valiant, that they can prepare for Chengdu can also prepare for Valiant and tailor some strategies to them. Apparently they've gotten off the Symmetra teleporter hype, and they're looking pretty good on some old halt hook combos and some double sniper. So yeah, I think that should be like at the very least a pretty close game. But I think this is like Chengdu pretty convincingly. I won't say 4. I think Valiant's got 1 in them for sure. So I'll say 3-1.
So we're going to do something really quick. Yiska, Joe, pay attention for a second. I need you guys to smile at the camera when I say so and do something funny, because I need to take a screenshot for social media.
Oh boy.
You down? All right, here we go.
Sure.
Take the screenshot. 3, 2, 1, screenshot. There it is.
Just
All
no
right.
okay hands.
I feel dirty. I feel very dirty.
That was a good one. Actually, that
What
was
that even
surprisingly good.
for?
I need to put that on
Oh.
social media later on.
Okay.
And I don't feel like creating a whole nother graphic. Can you just please give me just a little help? All right. There you have it right there. There's our picks. Dallas Fuel for sure. I say the Spark. Other guys say Seoul. Joe and I say Chengdu. And Yiska says the
Shanghai.
Dragons. So, all right. Who has Yiska under hostage? Funny. That's actually a really good. That's a really good picture.
Imagine thinking
that.
that Shanghai is gonna win us or get to a stage playoffs after
I
last
know,
season.
right? Like I wanted to pick Shanghai, but man, they've got it tough this week.
I'm happy. You know, they're the epitome of what I hope that the Justice and the Mayhem and Houston can hopefully one day be. Like a decent middle of the pack team that, depending on the meta, depending on the stage, might challenge for stage playoffs. Like I'd like more of Shanghai stories where they just absolutely feed and then come out and actually turn out to be okay after some restructuring.
I get that.
Happy for 'em.
That's fair.
Good. It's good for everybody.
Congrats, Shanghai. You just got your logo on the first ever, hey, will this team make playoffs graphic?
Yeah.
Since probably the initial Overwatch League announcement. Because I know a lot of people were pretty high on Shanghai when it first came out. And then, so do you remember that? So Shanghai announces, everyone's like, oh my God, this is going to be really good. And then the people who actually knew China were like, actually, they mainly suck. So
I remember there's a few people who aren't with us anymore currently in the community said that they were like top tier. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, homie.
Yeah. All right. Last one. So we did have one chat question I see posted here.
Here's a fun.
So Fusion Uni and Runaway both lost in their most recent matches. Will Titans be next to fall? So Titans again are 12-0. Pretty good. I would say that's not bad.
12-0, not including the matches and stage playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, just the regular season.
Or in Apex. Contenders Korea.
Sure.
Well, actually, yeah, so 12-0, but to be clear, the Vancouver Titans did not lose any matches in. They lost maps, but they did not lose any matches in playoffs.
That's what he's saying.
So
they haven't lost in a long time.
Into week 5, they played the Toronto Defiant and Seoul Dynasty. And then they're likely going to be, assuming that they go 7-0.
I'd love to see a Shock Vancouver run back.
Yeah, so we should probably see. So Gladiators will probably drop down to 3rd.
Yeah.
Just from map differential alone, right?
And then either way, Vancouver or Shock are getting.
I think it's pretty safe that Shock is first seed.
Yeah, I think we get the Atlanta NYXL run back as well. Didn't actually see that. Should be interesting.
By the way, at this time, I'd like
Atlanta.
to take the stage and say, hey, Harsha, you lost the map to Houston.
I like that one. That was good. Gets the clap. That sounds like an STD, doesn't it? All right. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So will Titans be next? I mean, I think they'll probably be next to fall, but I don't think that they're falling in stage 2, except for maybe like whenever they play Shock next. I think Shock are the only teams that can actually beat.
Yeah, I think Shock. God, why news? So to finish my thought, I think it would be interesting to see a Vancouver Shock run back. I think Shock probably takes it in their current form. They look really, really good. I think it'll probably go Game 7 again, but I think there's a world where Shock probably takes that, and you see Vancouver fall.
55, 60, 40?
I'd say 60-40 Shock there.
Oh, wow. I could do more than 55-45 on that one.
Now I have a theory. Okay.
I've had a theory. I don't know. Do you want to talk about this, John, about Valiant?
Yeah, so breaking news. That's not a breaking news. That's just a swear button over and over. Breaking news. So the LA Valiant have parted ways with assistant coach
Dong Su Shin.
Pronunciation provided by Volamel. LA Valiant have mutually parted way with assistant coach Dong Su Shin. We thank Dong Su for his contributions to the Valiant. Wish him best for the future. My favorite thing is Conan Coon 66. The only response so far says, "Are there even any coaches left to fire?" That one gets a small round of applause here. So LA Valiant already on the season. LA
Are you
Valiant.
thinking, Jake?
LA Valiant
I
are
think
2
I
and
know what
11.
you're thinking.
How are they going to do without?
Are we
we thinking-
thinking of following the coaches again?
Yes, I think we're thinking of getting more European coaches.
I think there's a
LA
very.
Valiant.
I was going to go with players.
Don't leak it though. Don't leak it though. Oh, you don't know what I mean? Okay.
I don't think so.
But I'll tell you after. I'm pretty sure.
I think we're on the same path.
Shut up and say it now.
I think they go for Tavik.
No, I can't.
You think they go for
Oh.
Tavik?
Yeah,
As what? Player.
as a player.
Oof.
My understanding is that
Why not?
the Mayhem are not
Not what?
are not looking to look like how they look now.
Okay, I'll
Drastically.
type it in chat. You can't address it, but the chat gets to enjoy all your faces when I write this. Okay,
I'm
You ready?
saying it.
Don't say it.
I'm
though.
saying it.
No, don't.
I'm gonna say
don't
it. I'm gonna say it. I'm
Okay, then
not lying to you. I'm going to say it.
Okay, then I'm just posting it to Joe. Okay, I'll watch Joe now.
Oh,
Yiska,
like it.
Yiska, say it.
I think that's very
Just
likely,
say it,
right?
Yiska.
okay. If that's
I can't
likely, that could lead to a pretty big.
How can
chain
you
of-
post it in a public Twitch chat and not say it?
I had to double check that one. I was like, did he?
No, I did not.
Yeah, that could lead to some implications that I think would be pretty interesting, but I don't think would happen.
Yiska, what
More-
if we get
more
like
on that in a
5?
moment.
If we get 5 subs, will you say it? 3 subs. 3 subs, will you say it?
No, I won't.
No, I think that wouldn't be too hard to say.
Yeah. You will understand when I say it.
It's good. It's all good things. Nothing about.
All right,
this
put
is
it in
bad.
chat. I won't say anything.
Now, okay, you want some like. Yeah, put it in chat. Watch everybody watch.
I thought you were saying Twitch chat.
No, he's saying
Not
Twitch chat.
Discord
Pay attention to our
chat.
faces because we won't say it. You just get to live vicariously.
Who?
You dick.
I think there are moves happening, not with the Valiant, that are very much bad moves that I think will not change anything and will keep them very, very sedated. And that's what I'd like to be when I watch that team play. Guess that team. You have 3 chances, and the first 2 don't count.
Dude, if Florida, okay. If the things I heard about Florida are actually true, and they are communicating in this way, what are
But
you
Yiska,
doing, dude?
they're talking to Runaway, dog.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like,
Aggressive marketing and strategy.
maybe they're buying scrim bots or something. I don't know. Like,
Do I think Fate will be traded? I already thought that. It's already been reported on. It's probably not happening. I think he should be, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's moves a happening. There's stuff moving. Some of it good, most of it bad.
Yeah. No, like the thing is, and I'm not sure if he would be comfortable with me sharing this, but I think the problem is that to me it seems like Florida is over-promising and under-delivering. And you should do it the other way in terms of PR. So, yeah.
Yes, Dongsu was released from the LA Valiant, and now we're talking about speculation on what happens next with their roster. I'm still knowing that, I'm even more confident saying what I said. I think they go for Tavik.
I have no idea what Dongsu did in Valiant. And that is not to say that this is a sign that he didn't do much. I really just genuinely don't know. And I mean, I know he was with Combox for the longest time. I don't know what his involvement there was. So yeah, I'm not sure what this means. This could also, by the way, mean not that he was let go, but he was traded or is going to take another job somewhere else. That could also be the case. I have no idea. Like, I'm not really cued into the Korean coach discussion.
Fair enough. All right. Oh, I booed. Sorry, wrong button. Here you go. Probably stream listeners probably didn't hear that, but it was pretty quiet. We got to get out of here. This was a show, huh, guys?
That
was long.
It was a good one, though. We give you a little extra tactical crouch this week, reeling in at an hour and 35 minutes. One of my favorite responses when like someone posts a tactical crouch episode on Reddit is like, "Is this another one of those 3 hours esports podcasts?" No, hour.
You're darn tooting it is.
Hour 42.
People think that 10 minutes and 30 seconds might as well be 3 hours. So you know what? I'm okay with being a 3-hour podcast.
Fair enough. Good show though. Fun show. Yeah, lots of stuff going on. Make sure to tune in to Overwatch League again for week 5. We've got 4 weeks of great games. Great games being played this next week. Of course, make sure to tune in to Seoul Hangzhou. That's going to be a big one.
That's going to be hype.
That's the one I wouldn't miss.
I think I think each day there's like a decent match to watch. Guangzhou Houston is gonna be halfway decent. I'll just revel in the fact that I can just watch all of the Houston fans just cry more.
There
Shanghai,
goes 2 more 1-star iTunes reviews.
That's fine.
We have iTunes reviews, and we've got a 3-star from Joe using push to talk, and then a couple of Houston fans there. So hey, by the way,
want to hear me blow
if you're
my
listening
nose.
to the show on the podcast, go to your iTunes thing and leave a 5-star review. Just say, "Hey," or "Thanks for the show." That's all you got to do.
Or plaid if you really want to be like that wink wink nudge nudge fan in on the in jokes.
True. Say kicked Volamel. Kicked capital V Volamel. That's what you got to say. So yeah, fun show though. We don't get to like. Here's the thing. We don't get to hang out throughout the week as much as I'd like to. Let's change that. It's always weird because Yiska starts the show with the sun up and then ends the show with the sun down.
With the sun down. Yeah.
I can't totally get over it.
The thing is, I always close my blinds, but there's like a small...
Yeah, you can always tell when it's
opening.
day out. Like, it's not totally blacked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. All right. So, there it is. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here.
Watch Contenders, hype matches tonight.
Watch
True that.
Contenders. Yeah, that's wrapping up for NA and EU, right?
Is EU finals today?
Not finals, but it's
No.
play. Where are we in EU? We're playoffs, right?
No,
it'd
I
be
think...
finals, would it not?
No, we're getting, like, this week is NA.
Okay.
So we're getting Mayhem Academy against Gladiators Legion. I think that's interesting.
Bad.
Close. And then also, people probably sleep on this, but
Yeah,
Fusion Uni against Montreal Rebellion. I think that
might be
knocks
good.
it in the-
Yeah. That's a solid match. This is a Montreal that literally is. It's a new team, and they've made playoffs with this new team. They got some wind in their sails, and they look good.
Who's the head coach for Montreal?
I don't know. This guy named Awake something.
Dreamcaster? Something like that. I don't know. Probably pisses him off when I do that. Yeah. So,
XZP really happy though.
yeah. Volamel. Joe, what do you got? What do you got going on this week, man? Anything coming up?
Got some things in the works. No announcements of announcements. Nothing big, but just working on some things, putting some stuff together, and we'll see what happens with it.
Cool. Yiska, what about you, man? What's going on?
Going to make tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow is an off day, so I'm going to have a thinking it over. Then probably we'll also have a esports walks, just because weather's nice outside tomorrow. So yeah, that's what's planned. And then tonight I'm also going to be in my Discord watching, maybe not all, but most of these Contenders games.
Sweet. Discord, by the way, are you partnered there yet? Do you have an aesthetic link, or how do people find that Discord?
I think it's on his Twitter.
Yeah. No, it's on my Twitter, and it's Yiska out. Wait, what's the link with the Discord stuff that you linked me?
Discord.me?
.me/Yiska out. Yeah,
okay. Discord.me/Yiska out.
Yep.
Go there. That's kind of like taking my my place for like, instead of using Overwatch League Daily, I think I'm just gonna delete that server, by the way. Probably should, right? Like, I don't know. Anyways, probably gonna delete that server. Go to Discord. Discord's the best. Discord.me/Yiska out. Make sure to go hang out there. Lots of great watch parties. Semi-competent conversations. I will say, not the hottest takes, but some takes. You know, people at least typing in it. What else? As for me, completely selfishly, as Overwatch World Cup comes out here in the next couple weeks, consider me for your community lead for Overwatch League. Not Overwatch League, Overwatch World Cup Team USA. Other than that, nothing new going on. Just chilling, hanging out. Trying to, here's the thing. That playoff pictures graphic took so long. To do. It took way too long to do. So, yeah, I'm basically just making graphics for the show now. That's about all that I do.
Looks clean though. Looks nice. Very nice.
You know, it's a fun way to do it. That's for sure. Yeah. Other than that, make sure to follow the host at Volamel, at Yiska out, and at KickedTripod. Find the show everywhere. Search for Tactical Crouch, or follow us on Twitter at Tactical_Crouch. We're going to be back after the loud music. Talk a little bit more, do a little post show. So make sure to follow twitch.tv/KickedTripod. Subscribe, twitch.tv/KickedTripod. I hate saying the word donate, but you know, if you got a little extra money hanging out in the PayPal or whatever, you want to support the show, support the hosts, that's the way to do it for now. Joe, did we find any like thoughts on the Patreon this week? I don't know if you heard anything or not.
No. People pretty quiet on my neck of the woods.
Pretty quiet as
Same.
well. Saw one person saying, "Hey, I really want to do Patreon."
Yeah, that's true. There was one person that did at the podcast and everybody and said that.
Find
gave a
kicked
little
on
bit of feedback,
Fiverr
which is
for
nice.
overlays. No, I will not do Fiverr. I will not do that. Can't do it. So Patreon is still very much a good discussion. So if you're like wanting to support the show, but don't really want to donate because that feels weird, want some perks involved, we're still discussing it, seeing if enough people think it would be a cool thing, that they would like the show more or feel more involved in the community. Yiska, I mean, it's important, right? I mean, we've got like our Discord. I'm sure you've got other things, but like being a part of an online community is pretty great.
Yeah,
you provide a lot of that from, you know, just Discord itself with all your viewing parties. And, you know, if that ends up being Tactical Crouch, like we definitely love to give that to you. So let us know your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Tweet us at Tactical_Crouch. Post in Discord. I don't know. Just say something on the internet that you want it to happen. We'll make it happen. If not, no. Who knows? All right. Jared says, give me Patreon. So that's 2. We're at 2. All right. We're out of here. We're going to be back after the music, do a little post show, and then call it a day. See you guys. Bye.